All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in. We're going to talk about this mistake this investor made, ladies and gentlemen. He is known as the nomad investor. You see what the title say here, ladies and gentlemen? I sold my entire portfolio at 1,100 loss, but I'm not quitting. Why you take a loss when the market's down? Ain't it wiser to sell high and buy? Sell high and buy lower. Then that when it does go back up, it will go back up, and then that you can sell back at a high. This is my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. But let's listen to this guy talk here, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting about how new investors look at stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And listen to what he got to say.
Whole dividend investing stuff. I've done my traditional 401ks and Roth IRA stuff and whatnot, but for personally doing this, especially when it comes to high yield income investing, this is completely new to me. I'm not an expert. I am not a professional. I am not someone who has so many years underneath my belt. I wasn't even invested in an individual investing account like this during Liberation Day. The only experience that I truly have is some trading here and there when it comes to crypto. I've done pretty well with the crypto space, but outside of that, I have no experience doing this. This is my first time doing this. So, I currently have $7,589.67 in margin that I could use. And then obviously I have my $5,538.27 in cash. So in total, my buying power is $13,127.94. I do have options here, and I think I'm really going to take some time this weekend to, number one, relax, and number two, replan everything. Just to be clear, I want it known, I have very high convictions in the underlyings of each of the positions that I was in. But as I always talk about, capital preservation comes at the utmost importance. Yes, I could have held the HOW, NVDW, and PLTW. I could have held all of those positions and waited to sell on Monday instead at still a loss. And then I would have obviously received the dividends. So this upcoming week of dividends, I won't receive anything. That was kind of the thing that was going on through my head. I was like, okay, I need to make a decision. Am I going to break my rule that I had set for myself and cut my losses and wait for an opportunity to buy back in at a much better value? Or am I going to hold through the worst of the worst and, possibly lose even more? I know some people have been losing like 30%. I know some people have lost 50%. I've been hearing so many different things, and it really depends on the funds that you're exposed to. Some people are in highly leveraged funds like 2, 3x. In my case, I'm only 1.2x exposure, but unfortunately for the Roundhill funds, and I've talked about this in previous videos, and I never blindly said that it's a perfect fund, but when the down is hitting, you are getting wrecked really badly. But I will say, guys, on Monday, I am pretty confident I'll probably get back into almost every single position that I was in, excluding NVDW, and that's because I think it's going to keep pumping leading into earnings, and then once earnings does like that sell-off, I think that's probably when I'll plan my re-entry, just because I don't want to buy in higher than my original average cost. I want to quickly dive into the positions and show you guys. So as you can see, after hours, it did do a little bit of a rally for HOW, but to be honest, even with this rally, I was still so red, and a big part of that was how big of a portfolio allocation I had in this. And just to quickly show you guys, so if I hop over here, I had about a 24.68% portfolio allocation in HOW, and then a 48.54% allocation in WPay. Now, the bad part about that is, if we do the math, that's a little over 60% of my portfolio. 73.22%, correction. I just wanted to do the math there for you guys. So what happens is that negatively impacts my portfolio as a whole. In fact, NVDW was doing fairly okay. It wasn't actually down that bad. Neither was KQQQ, and Palantir was, it's a small percentage. It wasn't really like doing great yet, but that was okay. I was planning on just like DCAing down, and I still plan on getting back into this position again. But I just wanted to make it clear, like, these two positions are really what was killing and draining my portfolio. And that is kind of where I have to reevaluate what allocations do I want to do. And, I'll kind of cover this later, but I'm focusing on some new numbers here and try to figure out what can I do to better protect my capital, preserve my capital, but also help myself to be in a position where I'm still earning the income that I want to earn on this journey. So anyways, this is significantly below my average cost per share. Like if we hop over here into my dividend sheet, and I left this just so I can review this, guys. It's not, obviously this was
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he wasn't doing too bad on his losses, but why would you take a loss when the market is down? I'll wait till it goes back up, ladies and gentlemen. That's my opinion, but let's listen a little bit more here, ladies and gentlemen.
going to change. I do need to update this once I re-enter. But for now, I'm just kind of keeping a close eye on this. This is helping me keep an idea of where the market is and how my total return and market return would be if I were still holding. My average cost per share for HOW was $64.03. In market return, I'd be down as of the market close yesterday, negative 8.5%. That's pretty.
But look at the underlying, like HOW. Wasn't Hood down too? MVW, he's down. Is NVIDIA down? Is Palantir down? It's just the market, ladies and gentlemen, and what is going on, not the fundamentals of the company. You got to look at the fundamentals of the companies. But, yeah, in WPay got all the underlying, all the weeklies like the HUEW, the NVDW, the PLTW, and so other ones. But still, it could rebound, and it has on Friday by $2 from where it was at, because I bought some of the lows, ladies and gentlemen. NRA rebounded off them lows. Could rebound next week. We got one full week of November to go and half a week because of Thanksgiving, ladies and gentlemen, for November. Then we'll be done and going in December, ladies and gentlemen. But you know something? I just think he let his emotion get to it. To him, ladies and gentlemen, you can't have emotional. Why, Train? You want to watch the whole video, ladies and gentlemen? I'll put a link to it, ladies and gentlemen. See you in the next one. Peace out.